there's a critical moment towards the what I think I even said, here in the introduction. It was like 40,000 words into the manuscript is when I chose to have a panic attack about whether or not I should be even doing the book. And then, of course, Dad, I talked to Dad about it, and he asked the important question, which, what's the purpose? Why are you writing the book? And, in the book, I said that I wanted RNs, ER techs, medics, EMS, fire department, police to know that they're not alone. There are thousands out there who feel the same way as they do, others with nightmares, others with a growing darkness that's uncharacteristic for themselves. And then I said the second thing was that I wanted nurses and medics to read the book and to recommend it or pass it along to their administrators, directors, CEOs, CNOs, ER directors, nurse managers, the folks who make the decisions that impact those of us that are on the front lines. It is interesting that every day we would do quality control checks on the glucometer to make sure it was reading blood sugars correctly, and then we would do quality control checks on the LifePak 20s, the cardiovert, to defibrillate patients. We would do those quality checks first thing in the morning to make sure they're functional. But the human beings get no quality control checks. And that thought is staggering because I was not fine. And, on the outside, you try and smile and wear a certain face. And I go into the book, but that's one of the main purposes of the book as well, is that I really want the nurses, the medics, the ER techs, the clerks that are there on the front lines, physically putting hands on these patients and their families and helping, and in these tough moments, these folks need to have help. We need to make sure the quality control checks are being done on their minds. And I heard an interesting song by 21 Pilots where he talks about his radio, and he talks about how upset he was because someone stole the radio from his car. It wasn't the fact that they had stole the radio, it was the fact that now he had to drive in silence, and that silence made him think on his life and where things were at. And that rang true with me because it made me think about driving home sometimes in silence, and all you just think about things that are going on in your mind, and the things that you saw, the things you witnessed, holding a mom who has just found that her child has died, and she collapses to the ground, and catch her and hold her in your arms, and then you're thinking about that when you're driving home in silence. And the thing that makes us amazing at our jobs is empathy. But it's also that same character trait that will kill us, because we are able to put ourselves in people's shoes, and we have to have some tactics and some tools on how to be empathetic but not take it home. And I was fortunate in that my ER administration at my last hospital insisted that I speak to a counselor because things were spiraling out of control. So I did get some tools, and I talk about those in the book. And that is another main reason for the book, is that we've got to get these books into the hands of hospital administrators. And I'm just I'm a frontline guy. I'm the medic, and typically I'm the first guy that puts actual physical gloved hands on a patient. And I'm the guy that meets them in the room and introduces myself and gauges their level of concern, their level of nervousness, and try to put them at ease, and get them into a gown and get their vitals and start an IV, get blood work going, because the nurse is charting on all of her other patients. And so, the book is from the viewpoint of me, a medic. And there are books out there from nurses, and there are books out there from docs, and there's a few from paramedics, but You know, as far as like the ER tech, the medic, there's probably not a lot of books out there that I could find anyway. And, you know, I'm super excited to get this book out there, because I think it's a fresh perspective, you know, and it's something that definitely needs to be it needs to be talked about. I just keep going back to the fact of the hospital administrators, uh, ER directors. They have so many regulations and so many laws and so many. Um, they've got OSHA and JACO and um, workers' comp, and they've got all of these entities in the government and the state and the city and the county and the news media, and they're worrying about all of these things. And I just think they just need to be kind of jostled a bit and shown like, look, your people are really, really hurting, and they're professionals, so they smile, right? They smile, they do their job, and they go home. And it's that ride home that is particularly sad, because then when you get home, you put your face back on, because now your kids are going to be greeting you at the door. And you don't want them to know about the darkness. And so you switch over to that mode. And the way I describe it in my book, you'll read about the 30 minutes of happiness that I would have in a day was that 30 minutes between the time I got home and bath, you know, bed, brushing hair, brushing teeth, brushing, getting them, making sure they're in their PJs, and getting the kids tucked away in their beds, reading a story, saying prayers, kisses on the forehead, walking to the door, closing the door halfway, blowing kisses from the door, hearing good night, love you, and then that's the end of the happiness for me. And I know it sounds very dark and dreary, but the only reason that I mention that is that I don't want everybody to go there. And that's what scared me so bad, was how close I came to the abyss of taking my own life at one point. And you just get so dark, you get so tired, you just want to rest, and your brain won't shut up. And this really scared me. And this is why I look, yes, of course I want to sell books, but the thing is that I really, really believe this is going to really help